Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. As part of our answer writing series for general studies papers of civil services main examination, we'll take up a question that might appear in GS paper 2. So let us read out the question together. The 44th Constitution Amendment, the 44th CA, inserted many provisions to check arbitrary exercise of power by a government enjoying majority. Elaborate. Now the question requires a bit of awareness, a bit of general awareness from you. What it specifically means that you would have some sense of idea, some idea into the background of the 44th Constitutional Amendment, how it was connected, specifically how it was connected to the emergency period. So how we introduce our answer, as we have just talked about, that you should try to connect your answer to its historical background, and the historical background here is the dark period of emergency that was in operation between the year 1975 to 77. So our answer starts like: the many undemocratic excesses of the emergency period of 1975-77 were fresh in the mind of the people. The task was to ensure that a majority government would not hijack a constitution to sabotage the very constitution. Sometimes what happens that a government would exploit the various loopholes in the constitution itself to sabotage the very spirit of constitution, the very ideals of the constitution. Accordingly, the 44th Amendment 1978 had to ensure that the unchecked autocracy of majority would be brought under checks and balances. Again, this is very important point, that the unchecked autocracy of majority should be brought under checks and balances to curb its arbitrariness. They were also the immediate imperative of reversing the provisions of the 42nd Constitutional Amendment, which was passed during the emergency period of the 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, often mislabeled mini constitution, and which had many undemocratic provisions aimed at legitimizing the arbitrary actions of the incumbent government. These tasks were sought to be accomplished by suitably amending the constitution and patching up the loopholes, as we have just talked about how a majority government can exploit loopholes. So the task was to patch up these loopholes that a majority government could exploit to sabotage the very constitution. So what it does, the 44th Amendment provides for some checks on the brute majority of government in areas like enforcing collective will of the Council of Ministers rather than on the autocratic whim of any person, generally the Prime Minister. Accountability, it enforces accountability, it imposes accountability by providing that there would be no immunity from judicial review. Specifically, a declaration of emergency under Article 352 would be susceptible to judicial review. Restoring democratic balance, how it seeks to restore democratic balance by strengthening role of the Council of Ministers. The Council of States. By strengthening the role of the Council of States. It makes it sacrosanct, it makes it clear that the right to life under Article 21 would be sacrosanct. It gives the right to life, it actually affirms the sacrosanct status to the right to life. It also provides for non-arbitrariness by enforcing Article 20 by making the provision that Article 20 will act even during the time of emergency, will be in operation even during the time of emergency. It restricts the scope of Article 358. It restricts the scope of Article 358 and says that it will have operation only in the case of external emergency, not in the case of armed rebellion. That is, its provisions would not apply to our citizens but rather to an external enemy, an aggressor. Now we take up these points in detail. You are probably aware that the incumbent Prime Minister had acted out of her own accord without consulting her council in recommending imposition of emergency. It normally happens when a strong Prime Minister enjoying brute majority might act autocratically. The 44th Constitution Amendment provides that emergency under Article 352 can be imposed only on a written note prepared after consulting the Council of Ministers. What it specifically says that the Council of Ministers has to meet and send a written note to the President of India recommending emergency to emergency to be actually imposed. Emergency era 38th Constitutional Amendment. Again, underline this. This is a very important provision. This is a very important Constitutional Amendment. The Emergency Era 38th Constitutional Amendment had made declaration of emergency immune to judicial review. What Article 44th, what the 44th Constitutional Amendment does, it reverses this provision. It makes the President's decision under Article 352 susceptible to judicial review, thus not only providing immediate remedy but also making the executive answerable. You would appreciate that suppose a court, generally the Supreme Court or a higher court, would were to strike down declaration of emergency, it would give us immediate relief, it would provide us immediate remedy, and also if the government were to be censored by the court, it would generate bad PR for the government. The amendment provides for ratification of emergency by both houses separately with a special majority, thus re-establishing federal balance and effective check. Again, it's seen that even a majority government does not enjoy similar kind of majority in the Council of State, that is in the Rajya Sabha. It has rarely happened in the case of India for a very long time, and even in the future there is a very slim chance of it ever happening that a government which enjoys super majority in the Lok Sabha will enjoy similar kind of majority in the Rajya Sabha. So, by providing for a special majority ratification by the Rajya Sabha, it essentially provides a check on the arbitrary action of the Lok Sabha, that is of the government. Now, again, this again requires some kind of general awareness. But horrified at the atrocious judgment in ADM Jabalpur case, the 44th Amendment declares right to life sacrosanct. Again, the ADM Jabalpur is the darkest chapter in the history of Indian judiciary, when it failed the citizenry by saying that the state had even the right to take away someone's life during emergency. You can well appreciate that without right to life, any other right, whether it's equality, whether it's you can say equality in the matters of employment under a state or right of expression, are essentially meaningless, because first we have to survive. A government which were to kill people arbitrarily is essentially denying them all kinds of freedom. So what the 44th Constitutional Amendment declares It declares right to life sacrosanct, that it would be in operation even during the time of emergency. Similarly, Article 20 was held non-derogable, so that, for an example, a majority government could not give a criminal law retrospective effect. You can understand that a retrospective criminal law is essentially undemocratic. You cannot make a law, a provision which was essentially allowed, and make and turn it into a punishable offense by giving it a retrospective effect. Anyway, look up retrospective effect, look up Article 20, because it's a bit difficult to explain, but anyway, look up Article 20. Then Article 358 restricts freedom of expression, Article 19, and other provisions under Article 19 during emergency. What the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act does, it clarifies that Article 358 operates only in the case of war or external aggression and not in the case of armed rebellion. Again, the lawmakers had in their mind that our own citizens cannot be treated as our enemies. They are not in the same category, they are not in the same position as an external aggressor or an enemy, so they should be treated differently. Now, the conclusion: by providing for judicial review, collective will over autocratic decisions requiring a special majority in a bicameral setting, and holding life and non-arbitrariness sacrosanct, the 44th Constitutional Amendment imposes checks on brute majority enjoyed by a government. So, this is how we sum up our answer for today. But once again, we have to remind you that we still have some time on our hands. We still have 1.5 months before the actual examination. So you could do one thing: you could write your own model answers in the comment section below of the questions that we are discussing here. We would try to evaluate as many of your answers as is humanly possible. That way you would have some sense of your strengths and weaknesses on which you could work on. So this was all for today. We meet again for the next lecture in a few days. Till that time, enjoy your preparation. We wish you all the best. Thank you.